What's up, CHS? This is a special episode today. This is about the disaster that happened 21 years ago. This is a tribute, and today we have Captain Williams. Can you introduce yourself?
My name is Captain Williams. I'm the JROTC instructor here at Conroe High School.
Captain Williams, can you explain to the audience what 9/11 was?
Well, 9/11 was a day that really sticks in my mind because it was the first time that we actually had an attack carried out on American soil. And we know about the attack at Pearl Harbor, but this is the first time that someone actually attacked us on mainland United States.
So what exactly happened? Where did it happen? What happened? Like, you know the timeline?
Yeah, I remember the timeline because I was in California. I was an NCO at that time, and we were training some National Guard soldiers down in California. And at the time, really, I was at breakfast. We were sitting around with some of the other trainers who were going to go do that training that day, and we were watching the news. And it was a report that came on that said an airplane hit one of the Twin Towers. And so the first thought in my mind was, wow, somebody's gonna get fired. Because airplane hitting the Twin Towers, that just doesn't happen. Some air traffic controller fell asleep. But while we were watching the video and watching what it looked like, we saw another plane come in and hit the second tower. So now, as a soldier, alarms are going off in my head because it's like, that's not normal.
That's not a thing that will happen accidentally.
Yeah, that's not an accident. This is purposeful. So now I'm thinking, what's going on? What's happening? And now I'm wondering, like, who's involved in this? Who's doing this? So we're sitting there and we're watching it, and we're watching the towers get hit, and we don't know what's going on. And then the other reports came out about the plane, that this was an attack being carried out by terrorists, and that there were other planes that were affected and ones that went down. And so we're sitting there, we're watching it, we're taking it in, and we're in shock, you know. And so now, as a soldier, you want to go into action. You want to hear from the president, you want to hear from the Congress, and figure out what we're going to do to stop something like this from happening. So, like I said, it's one of those things that you just never forget, because the loss of so many innocent lives for really no reason. You know, as a soldier, you don't hurt civilians to make a point. But for someone to actually just purposely attack innocent civilians and hurt them for no reason, it was just something that really sticks into your heart.
It's heartbreaking.
Yes.
So you kind of explained like what you were doing during the day and how you felt. Do you remember like all the steps that America took to respond to 9/11?
Well, we had to find out and wait to hear what was going on. And the reports started coming out that this was a terrorist attack carried out by Al-Qaeda. And so after that, as soldiers, we're just waiting to see what the president and Congress decides for us to do. And the decision was made that we were going to find the people who carried out this action and bring them to justice. So once the president and Congress made that a decision and they put that out, then we started making those steps and taking those steps to make those things happen. Soldiers were activated. There was a plan made by our government to go find the people who executed these actions. And from that point, that's what we did for the next 10 or 11 years. We carried out the plan to find whoever did these actions, Al-Qaeda, wherever they were. Our president and Congress said we're going to find them and bring them to justice.
All right, well, that was great hearing you explain 9/11 and how you felt and why you were there. We are going to take a quick break to see the announcements for today, and when we come back, we'll go to other interviews that we did with other staff members at Conroe High School.
Make sure to go to KTIGnews.com and click the nominate button to nominate your favorite teacher for Teacher of the Week. The winning teacher and student who nominated them will get lunch.
Are you interested in extra help in homework, a place to study quietly, prepare for an upcoming exam, or get help with a project? Then the Student Success Center is the place. We will have teachers and peer tutors on staff to help Monday through Thursday, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m., beginning September 12th. For additional information, contact Ms.Bellamy at sbellamy@conroeisd.net.
Are you tired of people believing in stereotypes and misinformation about your culture? Well, the CDC may be the club for you. The CDC, yes, the Culture Diversity Club, will have their first meeting of the year on Wednesday, September 14th at 2:45 to 3:45 in room 222. For more information, stop by room 222 and see Mrs. Garrett.
Each year, College Board recognizes high-achieving Hispanic, African American, and Indigenous students based on PSAT and/or AP scores. This year, Conroe High School has 36 students being recognized by College Board for their achievements.
Attention juniors, mark your calendars for October 11th. You are all invited to our District College Night at Lone Star Convention Center. Starting at 6:30 that evening, over 150 colleges will be in attendance. You don't want to miss this event.
Sophomores and juniors, on October 12th, you will be taking the PSAT test. Why is this test important? You can qualify to take dual credit classes and even receive scholarship money for your test scores. You can begin studying now using Khan Academy. If you have any questions, please see your counselor.
This week's College of the Week is Texas Women's University. This university is located in Denton, Texas, which is north of Dallas and Fort Worth. Although the word women's is in the name of the school, it is actually a co-ed university, with 12% students being male. TWU is a Division II university when it comes to athletics. This university is best known for its nursing and teaching programs. TWU graduates 24% of all Texas nursing doctoral degrees from all four-year public universities. Although TWU is a Texas public university, it offers support for students similar to that of a private university, such as small class sizes and a smaller campus.
I was actually teaching. I remember going into the classroom that day, and then one of my fellow teachers came in and whispered that there's been a plane that's hit one of the buildings in New York.
It was in the morning, and it was just really scary, kind of official how everything happened. The judge who worked for the courthouse just kind of shut everything down.
I was in the 4th grade at Gibbs Elementary, and I was sitting in my English teacher's class at the time.
I was practicing law, and I was at work when I first heard of the first plane striking the building.
You have to remember, back then we all did not have cell phones. We did not have internet. We didn't have computers in our rooms. And so at that point, we were in disbelief. We couldn't believe something like that had happened.
I remember my teacher getting a phone call, and she stepped out into the hallway, and then when she came back, she was crying.
They put the news on the TV, and I don't really remember clearly, like, exactly. It was just like a slowing down of time, and everything stopped.
Well, at first the radio reports were that a rocket had hit or that there was just a fire. No one really knew what was happening until the second plane hit the second tower, and then everybody knew that we were under attack.
The teacher happened to have a cell phone, and she was getting her information from her husband. So the only information that we really had was coming from her that day.
Everything just kind of moved really fast from that point on, but I remember her turning on the TV and hearing about the World Trade Center, and at that time, I think the planes had just hit.
We were in a panic to get home because at the time, our biggest information source was TV. So we were glued to the TV. We all ran home. We couldn't believe what had happened.
And then we got out of school early, and then by the time I got home, I can remember both of them being down. both of the towers being down.
We were all in disbelief. We were in fear. We did not know what was coming next. We were not sure if there were going to be more bombings, more things happen to the United States. So in my mind, I had the fear that we may be attacked again.
But it was just shocking. Like nothing in my lifetime has happened like that in America.
Strength came through that we had to protect our nation.
So my thoughts at that time was pretty much just shock because I can't really, it was just unbelievable what was happening.
So at that moment, I didn't really know what was going on. I had to have been about 9 or 10 years old. I knew there was something serious. I knew that people were going to be affected, but it was the first time something like this had ever happened. And so I just remember all of the adults waiting. Like that's just one memory I have, just people waiting and watching to see what was going to happen next. 9/11 impacted the United States. It encouraged better security. I think it sprung up a sense of nationalism in our country again.
It immediately unified the country, brought everybody together. People were displaying American flags everywhere. It was really something to see. I think it really it brought the country together at a time that things have been real divisive.
It's one of those things, horrible things that happen that bring people together and bring communities together. I felt like we all learned how strong we are.
Pride and protection. I knew that it would never be the same after that. Like I knew in that moment, even as a kid, that things were going to be different.
I think 9/11 impacted America as a whole, that it brought us all together. It brought patriotism out in people that had not experienced or gone through war times. I was in grade school when the Vietnam War was going on, and I can remember the feeling of dread. I can remember the feeling of pride, and I had not felt that until 9/11 had broken out and the bombings and stuff. That sense of patriotism and pride and defend America came up again.
We have had good and bad to come from it, but I think that it has made our country stronger.
People talk about the day after 9/11 being one of the best days. Of course, that's horrible to say because all the terrible things that happened, but as far as community coming together and people helping out one another and calling one another and just being there for each other, that's great to think about.